What's happening, Nerd Squad, and welcome back to the nerdiest page on the internet. The Suicide Squad. Not a great movie, but a pretty decent run in comics. They made their first debut back in 1959 in The Brave and the Bold issue 25. There's a link. They're an elite government strike force that are used when certified government agents can't be used, right? They're also known as Task Force X. But the nickname Suicide Squad is much more fitting, because as these missions go on, they aren't for the fate of heart. The lineup changes, as do the timelines of the task force, so there's quite a few missions that have been done. So here to break down 10 of our favorite Suicide Squad missions, I'm Taylor McWatters, you're you, let's just dive in. Kicking off the list at number 10, we have Trial by Blood and Fire. The very first Suicide Squad issue made its first debut back in 1987, and on the cover in big inviting letters says, "These 8 people will put their lives on the line for our country. One of them won't be coming home. Ooh-wee, wonder who it is." So the 2-issue story was just the beginning of a very long, successful run, starting with a fresh lineup of characters that are super well known, like Deadshot and Captain Boomerang. Now, the first issue has an explosive introduction with the stakes raised so high and so fast, with Air Force One being attacked and so many people injured in the process in just 1 minute and 7 seconds, apparently. So who better to call to take down the nasty group than our new group of heroes? So issue 2, titled Trial by Fire, picks up with Captain Boomerang being Australian, the most Australian, saying things like "cripes" and other stuff. And we see our team in full force, and it's an action-packed introduction. So if you're looking for a place to start, I mean, the beginning is often a safe bet. And in this case, it's one of the most fun issues to read. There's a link, page 18 for that link. Sick. And before we go on to number 9, if you guys could go ahead down there and click us a little thumbs up, that would be great, because it helps us out a lot here at our secret studio. Top secret, don't tell anyone. Okay, you guys rock. Now back to some badass Suicide Squad missions. Number 9, the Phoenix Gambit. Written by Kim Yale and John Ostrander, who has pretty much written all of these except for maybe a couple. This 4-parter begins with the Suicide Squad Volume 1, Issue 40. So we start with Batman finding a body on the ground near the harbor in Gotham City, and the victim was Nicholas Varga, who owned the shipping yard. Now the body was found as if it was dropped from a great height, but there's no buildings nearby, right? How mysterious. So Batman thinks he was thrown from a ship, which is one hell of a toss. That plus a squished bullet, this is the work of a metahuman for sure. Definitely for sure. So this detective work soon becomes a mission he works alongside a returned Suicide Squad to prevent an international conflict to take place. It's a lot of fun to see Batman go in and convince these big players to work together. I think that's the best part of this whole story. And of course he does it in his usual Batman ways. Yeah, it's super political, and the 4-parter keeps you hooked. It's a slow burn, it takes time to get cooking, but the action is really fun and the pages become more and more stressful. It'll truly leave your head spinning. Number 8, the Janus Directive. Suicide Squad issues 27 to 30, known as the Janus Directive story, is a big one. So we find this epic crossover with all the major government operations with superheroes, and I'm talking about Checkmate, Project Adam, the Central Bureau of Intelligence, the Peacemaker Project, the Force of July, and of course our very own Suicide Squad, and they're all going at each other because Amanda Waller decided she wanted to be a rogue operation. But all the while we have Cobra trying to take down the government and replace Amanda Waller with a doppelganger. And the doppelganger of course doesn't last long, and Amanda decides to take its place and went to take down Cobra from the inside. It's crazy, a lot of shit goes down. So every organization thinks that they're after each other thanks to this intel referred to as, you guessed it, the Janus Directive. Number 7. Deadshot Bulletproof. This time we have a story coming to us not by Ostrander, but by Christos and Gage. So we get an up close and personal look at a fan favorite member, Deadshot, who most of us know now as Will Smith, and soon we'll know him as Idris Elba. Gotta love DC and their DC-ness. So we find Floyd Lawton, and he has a bit more depth to him this time around in the 2005 5-parter, specifically in the form of a daughter. That's right, he finds out that she's currently residing in a violent neighborhood, so he goes in to clean up a bit. And if that means taking out some gang members, then so be it. Family is family. Number 6, Up Against the Wall. Suicide Squad issue 10, titled Up Against the Wall, is a big fan favorite. So many fans have pointed out that this issue was the biggest change of pace and stepped it up quite a bit for the Suicide Squad title. So we have this epic story that puts the Dark Knight himself against Amanda Waller. It's the issue where Batman discovers the existence of the Suicide Squad. It's a big deal, and let's just say he was pretty shocked about it. He actually threatens Amanda that he's gonna blow the whistle on the whole operation, but Amanda doesn't exactly react too kindly to that. I mean, you know, as fun as exposing a covert government sounds, she explains back to Batman that if he does this, she will use everything in her power to find out who he is. See, because he used his Matches Malone cover, he wasn't wearing gloves when he first investigated Belgrave Penitentiary. No gloves means fingerprints. Not a bad threat, Waller, not a bad threat. Number 5, in control / out of control. So after the events of The Killing Joke, Barbara Gordon was of course never the same. See, the Joker had put a bullet in her, causing her to remain in a wheelchair. But Ostringer and Yale went a smart route and made her become Oracle, the expert hacker. And it was fun for readers to find out that Oracle was actually Barbara. It was a nice reintroduction, you know? But most importantly, the Suicide Squad at this point didn't know that yet. They didn't know this big reveal. It was just the readers. So it feels like we're in on something secret, you know? So in Suicide Squad issues 48 and 49, it starts with Barbara reliving the horrible events that night. And it ends with her and Amanda becoming closer. Of course, after Barbara fought off the Thinker, that is. Number 4, Final Round. Suicide Squad issue 22, titled The Final Round, is a single issue that actually ties together a bunch of subplots. Let me explain. So it's gotta be in here. It's a very, very juicy one. So after Senator Cray hears about the Suicide Squad, he blackmails Amanda to support his re-election, or else he would start spilling secrets, right? A lot of blackmailing, God. So now she's trying to think of another plan to blackmail him back, you know, get some dirt. But Rick Flag is already on his way to go over and kill Senator Cray and Derek Tolliver. Derek's actually the one who told Cray about it in the first place, so he's involved. So Amanda sent out the Suicide Squad to stop Rick Flag, and well, if you know anything about Rick Flag, that's not going to be an easy task. Some team members are torn at the idea of having to kill Flag, and then when Deadshot steps in to intervene, he ends up ultimately changing his mind and going against Amanda's orders and killing Cray, bam, right there, right then. And Deadshot actually barely survived this. He got shot numerous times after. It was a whole thing. Number 3, Bad Blood. Written by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, we get a promising front cover saying, by the end of this issue, half of the team will be dead. But why? What is this, Infinity War? Someone gonna snap their fingers? Well, the squad gets assigned a new mission to take down some super terrorists called the Revolutionaries. But here's the twist that made this issue stand out. The surviving Revolutionary members are joining the Suicide Squad. So what a weird thing. It's like, hey, fight him, but whoever wins is gonna join you. So you're like, okay. So Harley Quinn and Deadshot basically have to figure out who to trust when they were assigned to also kill them at the same time. It's a fun concept and a pretty exciting introduction to some new faces. Number 2, Apocalypse Now. Okay, this one's a huge 4-part storyline spanning from issue 33 to 36. Okay, we pick up with Amanda after she has lost control over the Suicide Squad, right? This is a big time. So a new commander has taken her place and she has to try and figure out a plan to get back into the driver's seat, get back into control. Meanwhile, there's a task force member who returns to Apocalypse, putting the team at jeopardy. And where else to fight a god then? Well, off-world. That's right, in this amazing issue, we get to see the squad square up against Darkseid on Apocalypse, and it's gloriously gory. It's terrifying. Also, bonus points for Amanda Waller versus Granny Goodness, which is just icing on the cake for this whole thing. Apocalypse Now is a fun read. I mean, all these humans stuck dealing with Darkseid, it's a genuinely horrific experience for some of them. This is very out of their ballpark. And we also see a great moment from Dr. Light. Poison Ivy's in the mix and she kicks some ass. Led by Lashina of the Female Furies, the team's adventure to Apocalypse is one you definitely won't forget. And then soon after we have, drumroll, that's right, number 1, the Coils of theloa. Taking place right after Apocalypse Now, this 3-parter epic begins, of course, with issue 37. And it's so great because the main focus is on Amanda Waller now and just how far she's willing to go. So the Coils of the Loa is the storyline, of course, that focuses on the Suicide Squad and how they just returned from off-world. Meanwhile, the Loa family was developing drugs that would straight up turn people into zombies, and they publicly outed the Suicide Squad. A lot of drama happening in these 3 issues, oh my god. So the squad had to be shut down. I mean, the world knows about them now, it's done, cat's out of the bag. But Amanda Waller decides she's not done yet and sends out another squad to take out the Loa family once and for all. But it sure doesn't help when 3 squad members who were promised early release take a run for it after that last job that I just mentioned. So Suicide Squad from 33 to 39, if you need to kill some time, these are your must reads, bam. Well guys, there you have it. If you have read these awesome Suicide Squad comics, what did you think? Which ones have you read that you absolutely loved? Let us know in the comments down below because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had a safe and decent new year. Keep reading comics, keep staying home. I'm Taylor McWatters, you're you. Keep being you, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.